committees, do a lot in the community, and probably a lot that a lot of the members don't know about. So it's really nice to be able to hear from them on what's going on kind of behind the scenes. I'd like to first turn the podium over to Max Rishel and Mike Smith, and then followed by Paddy.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. I want to point your attention to, you probably already noticed, we have a slide presentation, which doesn't really go along with the speech or anything, but basically a lot of good photos from when we very first started until where we are today with Little League Baseball in York. Like I said, it all started over a decade ago when we as the Rotary Club of York were deciding how to celebrate our 100th anniversary of Rotary International. All members of our downtown club here were asked to submit suggestions for our Rotary Centennial Project. After all the ideas and votes were in, our club decided to embark on a project that would help bring Little League Baseball to the city of York. Partnering with Larry Richardson and the local YMCA, the city of York, Major League Baseball's Baseball for Tomorrow Fund, and Little League Baseball International's Urban Initiative Program. We as the Rotary Club of York pledged $100,000 to assist in renovating Bantz Parks and Allen Fields to state-of-the-art Little League facilities. It was then that Tracy Foster and I were called upon to chair the Centennial Project Committee to bring Little League Baseball to our city. The fundraising effort began back in 2003 under the direction of the Centennial Project Committee and then Club President Mike Summers. This drive continued through different stages of club leadership, including prior President Mike Worley, Larry Richardson, as I mentioned earlier, with the Y, who actually played the critical project manager role throughout the entire process. Abe Ambrose was actively involved, and of course future club presidents, including Kim Blouse, Dan Wolversdorf, and Kent Ketterman. Through several avenues of fundraising, project-specific sponsorships, gooey banana sales, for those of you that remember that, golf and tennis outing proceeds, oyster car wash tickets, in-kind project support from local businesses, and various other sources, our club was able to raise the $100,000 that we had originally promised towards the project. So as a result, thanks to many of you in this room as members of the Rotary Club of York, Little League Baseball was born in the city and has been alive and well since 2005. The three main fields, two at Allen Fields and one at Bantz Parks, were completely renovated and playable by the years 2006-2007. Soon after our Centennial Project was complete, it was apparent that the Rotary Club of York needed to continue its close relationship and support of York City Little League. So it was then that the Little League Committee was quickly assembled to provide both financial and voluntary assistance to the league over the past several years. This support has ranged from Rotarians coaching a team, or being on the York City Little League board, to providing funds for purchasing a riding mower, sponsoring a team, performing field maintenance, or buying new equipment, whether it be uniforms, bats, balls, catcher's gear, etc. I'm the current chair of the Rotary Little League Committee, and members of my committee currently include Ike Heilman, Dave Hogue, Brandon Marquette, Eric Minzer, Marion Oberdick, Larry Richardson, Mike Smith, Rod Stone, and Keith Wentz. Little League Baseball celebrates its 75th anniversary this year. It began in Williamsport, PA in 1939. And we just happen to have one of our own in the room today, York Rotarian for many years, Charlie Smith, sitting right over here. Charlie, if you want to stand up and be recognized, please. And Charlie, or as he was affectionately known back then, Nooney, a hard-hitting all-star catcher for Lundy Lumber, was on one of those three original Little League teams formed back in 1911. 1939.
This week marks the 75th anniversary of the Little League, that source of summer joy to young boys and now also girls all across America. The very first Little League game was played on June 6, 1939, and some of the first players, the original boys of summer, are still around to tell Harry Smith all about it. Tonight, Mr. Smith goes to the ballpark.
It's hard to walk through a park and not stop to watch kids play baseball. We can see ourselves on the field.
When I hit that ball, I'll be like, yes, I got a hit.
We remember what it was like just to be on a team. How great. Imagine then to have been these guys, the first boys to ever play Little League Baseball 75 years ago in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
We had bats we could swing. We had an umpire. We were really living that first game.
Until then, baseball was strictly sandlot stuff. And then a man named Carl Stotts came along and said, "Do you want to be on a team?"
And of course we said yes. Boy, jeepers, this is great. This is almost out of a dream.
Sonny Yurick, Charlie Smith, Tuck Frazier, Dave Hinneman, Bill Baer, and Dick Hauser. They played for Lundy Lumber, Lycoming Dairy, and Jumbo Pretzel, real teams with real coaches.
And they were all volunteers.
The men remember the games like they were played yesterday.
We got wafoed the first game.
You got wafoed?
Yes, these guys here beat the hell out of us.
Heck yes, that was the beginning of Little League.
Little did we realize back in 1939 that it would blossom into a big thing like this.
Now Little League is played by boys and girls, more than 160,000 teams in 80 different countries. And if they're really good, they make it to the Little League World Series.
Japan wins the Little League World Series championship.
Those original boys of summer grew up in the Depression. They all served in World War II. And to this day, that game, that sport they shared, to them, it was a gift.
We were just the luckiest guys in the world. That's all I can say.
Funny. That's pretty much what these kids told us too. Harry Smith, NBC News, Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Watch that 10 times and still want to watch it again. But anyway, Charlie says Little League taught him three things that he applied to his management career here in York at Osram, Pennsylvania. How to win and how to lose.
We are a collection of smalls, a home save, a hero.
How to turn off the
computer. A kitchen that kickstarts careers. Wells Fargo invests in our communities a little different. Small measures.
Anyway, Charlie said it was three things that he was taught. One was how to win and how to lose, Little League. The other was managers don't hit home runs, players do. And my favorite, don't smoke if you want to go all around, all the way around the bases.
There's some very graphic videos, both at the CC's location and at the Walmart location.
We turned the volume down.
The video shows you exactly how to do this in both ways. I told you in the first press conference that we...
Wow.
It's our resident IT professional, Ken Hooper. Anyway, the last one was don't smoke if you want to go around the bases fast. But anyway, the Rotary Club of York, as we quickly approach our 100-year anniversary, and to celebrate this along with the 75th anniversary of Little League Baseball and our club's commitment to the current success of Little League in the city of York, I'm pleased to announce that our current president, Dave Hoffman, our president-elect, Al Sykes, and our Rotary Board have made the decision to rededicate our club commitment to York City Little League and make Little League Baseball in York our signature project for the Rotary Club of York. What this means is that we've agreed, at least for the foreseeable future, to a $5,000 annual budget for the Little League Committee, along with earmarking $15,000 from our golf and tennis outing as a charitable contribution to York City Little League. So now more than ever, we ask for your support and involvement with Little League. Sponsor the golf and tennis outing, market the golf and tennis outing, and its connection with Little League Baseball in York. Become a York City Little League board member. Join my committee, if you like. Coach a team, umpire a few games, sponsor a team. The participation opportunities are endless. So now to tell you a little more about the current state of Little League Baseball in the City of York and how we can become even more involved as a Rotary Club, I introduce to you Rotarian and York City Little League Board President, Mike Smith.
Good afternoon. As they say, I guess the greater the technology, the greater the crash. So hopefully the joke won't be on me. But my name is Mike Smith. I'm president of York City Little League, and it's an honor and a pleasure to serve in that capacity for a program that gives folks so much back to the youth of York City. I'd also like to extend a deep appreciation to the Rotary Club of York, both past and in the future, to the commitment to our league for the ongoing sustainability of what is such a great program. I'd like to take a few moments to explain to you why Little League is so important to the city of York and to the youth that it serves. Our mission is to promote, develop, supervise, and voluntarily assist the interests of those who participate in Little League Baseball. Through proper guidance and leadership, the York City Little League assists youth in developing qualities of citizenship, discipline, teamwork, and physical well-being. By espousing the virtues of character, courage, and loyalty, we're a league designed to develop superior citizens and non-superior baseball players. I encourage you to think back upon your childhood. Think about the ways that you learned those qualities. Many of us may have learned them through sports, but I'm sure you can all think about the ways that you were able to learn and internalize those things that you utilize to be successful in your career. That's what Little League's all about, a positive environment for kids to serve after school so they can learn the values and hopefully become the Rotarians of tomorrow. As Max mentioned, this is our 10th season. It's a pretty great milestone in our history, not only the 75th anniversary of Little League International, the 15th anniversary of the Urban Initiative program, but also the 10th anniversary of our local York City Little League. During that time, we've had more than 3,000 players participate in the program. This current year, we have about 250 youth, ages 5 to 14, playing in 19 teams during 6 different age divisions. All the teams are co-ed, so the girls play with the boys and many times beat up on the boys. Little League, we're bound by geographic boundaries, and we're one of the few remaining sports leagues specific here for the kids in the city of York, and we're proud to say that we have one of the lowest registration fees in the entire county. Families only pay about 30% of the operating costs what it takes to run our league. When I took this position a year ago, we were not struggling financially, but we could always do a little better financially. Each year we have about a $60,000 operating budget. A lot of that goes towards the uniforms. That's what we're talking about, using some of the funds from this commitment from the Rotary Club for. The only thing that the kid needs to provide is a baseball glove and spikes. The uniform, the hat, the socks, the belt, everything is provided for them, including Little League approved baseball bats. Umpire fees, that's another big thing. Field maintenance. There's always expenses to run a quality league like we do here in New York City. So one of the goals was to find a couple of partners to help us with the ongoing sustainability of the league. One of them certainly is going to be, in the past and certainly in the future, the Rotary Club of York. It's going to help us buy equipment, make improvements to the safety of our league, buy uniforms. I'm thrilled to have our program be the signature event, or the signature program for the Rotary Club of York. I do encourage you to get involved. As Max mentioned, we have a large need for board members, most importantly coaches. One of the toughest positions for us to fill as a volunteer is to coach one of our Little League teams. The good news is it only lasts for about 2.5 months throughout the year, so hopefully we'll find some Rotarians that can carve out some time in their busy schedules to coach our city youth. Another partner that we brought on board recently is the York Revolution. I'm not sure if Eric is here today, but they've been tremendously helpful to us as we developed our own signature fundraising event titled the Chopper Drop. There's a flyer on the tables. Basically, we're going to fly a helicopter over Santander Stadium and drop 250 pre-numbered and pre-sold baseballs onto the field with the goal of hitting a target. If a specific number hits that target, the grand prize will be a new Ford Mustang courtesy of Apple Ford or $50,000 cash. So the chances are slim to win that grand prize. There's also a number of other cash prizes and a year worth of free electricity that we'll be giving away. But ultimately, again, as we look to sustain the league for the next 10 years, the partnership with the Rotary Club of York and the partnership with York Revolution is going to be tremendous as we look to close our financial gap each and every year. Registration fees only cover about 20 to 30% of our annual operating budget. So each and every year we're out there trying to fundraise. Hopefully these two means will enable us to do less fundraising and concentrate more on developing the quality of our baseball program. As I mentioned, there is a flyer on the table if you're interested in learning more. So the renewed commitment from the Rotary Club and our annual fundraiser will help ensure that we can celebrate 20 years in 2024. Hopefully I'm not still Little League president at that time, but it's good to know that the league will live on and kids will continue to be impacted by Little League baseball here in the city of York. Can't thank you enough for your support. It was your efforts 10 years ago that enabled us to get where we are today. It'll be your continued support which will enable us to get 10 years into the future. We're blessed to have this club as a partner in our league. We're blessed to be operating here in the city of York, which is so generous to the nonprofit community here in which we live, work, and play. So thank you for all you've done. Thank you for what you'll do in the future. Thank you to Charlie Smith for getting Little League baseball off the ground 75 years ago. We are hosting the 9-10 East tournament this year. It's the very infant stages of the Little League International Tournament. So we'll be hosting that at Allen Fields starting towards the end of June, carrying into the beginning of July. I do encourage you to come out if you have some time, watch some kids enjoy themselves and compete in the tournament to win. So do encourage you to come out. Do encourage you to get involved in the New York City Little League. We've got many opportunities available to you, but we look forward to continuing on the legacy of a great program here in the city of York. So thank you. That being said, I'd like to introduce Paddy Rooney to tell us a little bit more about the Student Education Fund Committee.
And now for something completely different. Actually, it's not too different, because we're dealing with the same issue. We're dealing with young people, we're dealing with youth, we're dealing with education, we're dealing with helping the future of our community. So I'm very privileged to be here today to speak a little bit about the Student Education Fund Committee. And I say privilege because it really is a privilege to be able to chair this committee and to work with the students that we meet. We get to meet amazing people like Madison, Matthew, whom you heard the letter from, and so many other students that we met down through the years that I've worked with this committee. And I really think that it's wonderful to hear from them not only their achievements in high school, but also their hopes and dreams for the future, because they are the future leaders of the community. The older folks like myself, we're wrapping up our lives and careers. They're our future, and that's a wonderful thing, because when I listen to them and I listen to the hopes and dreams that they have, I find myself very much inspired. Our committee really has two major components. The first, I want to talk about the loans within our committee. As you saw from the notice that Bert sent out, our loan committee has been in existence since 1921, when 32 of our own members stood as personal guarantees from the bank for some money to assist students. In 1923, the club itself took over that loan and assumed responsibility for it. And from that day to this, we've continued to make loans to students for their colleges. Needless to say, the fund is now self-supporting, and currently we have loans in excess of $309,000 out to some 56 recipients. The money is loaned out at a rate of 7% interest, which begins to be payable upon graduation. So we're loaning up to about $3,000 a year per student. And depending upon grades and performance, we seek to loan out about $80,000 a year. That's our money. That's our club money. that we're loaning out, about $80,000 a year. Each of our students who requests a loan are interviewed, and we keep track of them, Bert and I do, particularly, to see how well they do with their grades. When we have a student who's beginning to slip, when we have a student who's a little lax, we try to bring them in and work with them to see what some of the issues are, to see if we can get them back on track, to see whether they, in fact, can continue to receive our loan. And because of the front-end interviews, and because of the follow-up that we're able to do, our default rate in this program is extremely low, and I mean extremely low. We really only have 1 or 2 people that are really problematic out of the 30-some students that we loan money to. So we really have a good track record with this. We have close to $500,000 left, because we still have about $140,000 in cash right now that we'll be looking to loan out for the coming academic year. So about $500,000 of our club money is overseen by this committee, and that's important because, again, knowing the cost of education, knowing how difficult it is for some students to get loans, knowing that the federal funds are being cut back a little, we're one of those places we hope that students can turn to be able to help fund their future education. Moving to the scholarship program. This is a very multifaceted part of our program, and one that's growing each year. Over the years, as you well know, a number of our Rotarians have made special gifts to the club, often through the Community Foundation and other facets. You've heard me say these names a number of times, but it bears some repeating, because each of these folks who have made these contributions and established these funds have really given us a wonderful example of what it is to show service above self. So first, as we had today, we have the Carey and Jim Bush Scholarship. This is $1,000, as I said, for 4 years, $1,000 each year for 4 years, so a total of $4,000. It's these students who come and speak to the club each year. You're going to be hearing some of those students come back and speak over the next few weeks. Particularly about what they've been doing in school and how they have made some contributions to their community. It's always very encouraging when we hear from folks like Matthew Fuller to know that at college he was involved in his community, he was involved with the Ronald McDonald House, he's involved in those other activities because he's carrying on that legacy of service above self. Next is the Edwin Mangold Scholarship Fund. This is a one-time award of $1,000 for a student at either a 2 or a 4-year college. The Sandy Chronic Fund is a one-time award of $500. It's open to a student in either a 2 or a 4-year college. And then there's the Charles Deal Scholarship, which is a one-time award to a student attending a 4-year college. Students in engineering or students who come from the city of York, where's the right? Come from the city of York, are given preference. So engineering or city of York are given preference for this award. The amount of this award varies. This is housed with the Community Foundation, and each year the award is given at the discretion of the donor. It's generally run between $1,000 and $3,000. So this year we were able to award a $3,000 scholarship, and it'll be over 2 years. In addition, for the last 2 years, we've joined together with the Engineering Society of York County to assist with the distribution of what they call their cable scholarship funds. These funds were set up by some engineers for scholarships. They give 4 $2,000 scholarships a year. We found that we were seeing many of the same students, and especially in relation to our deal scholarship that I just mentioned, which has a preference for an engineering scholarship. So we decided to pool our resources. And that's what we should be doing in our community, trying to find ways to pool our resources even more. So we work together with the Engineering Society of York County. We help them with the preparation of the materials for advertising their scholarship, and we sit in on the interviews with them. So we, in essence, took our deal scholarship, put it with their 4 cable scholarships, and we're working together. We're very, very excited about the possibilities for the future of this relationship, and we hope that it will continue into the future. But there's more. Arcade is sitting over here at his regular table where he's sat since 1903. Actually, for Art's 90th birthday, his family decided to establish the Cayley Rising Musician Scholarship Fund to assist students from either the York City schools or York suburban schools, because they're the two schools that Art had spent his life working in, to establish a scholarship for a student going into music education or music performance. This year we just awarded the first $500 scholarship to a student from the Art Cayley Rising Musician Scholarship Fund. We're very, very excited about that. You will get to meet that young lady when she comes a little later in the summer. She'll both play for us as well as receive her award. She's a cellist, and I think she's a very gifted person. So we're very, very pleased to have that scholarship established. And waiting in the wings is yet another new scholarship, this one named for John and Paige Smith. A significant donation was made by the Smiths to the York County Community Foundation, and we were named as one of the recipients. The scholarship has no restrictions to it, but John Smith was a Rotarian of long standing, and most of us knew his interest in agriculture, in education, and above all, that little educational establishment called Penn State. And so the committee is going to be guided by those interests in determining the recipients for this scholarship award. And last but most definitely not least is the Rotary Club of York Scholarship for non-traditional students. Now, rather than have one person establish a scholarship fund, we, that's all of us, decided about 4 years ago to establish this new scholarship. And since it was established, we've garnered about $50,000 in support for this fund. This fund is designed for students who are engaged in educational processes in a non-traditional understanding. That is, they are returning to school, they are working full-time but going back to school, they perhaps quit high school and got a GED and are now taking another path to education in order to improve their lives. All of our other funds are in essence merit-based, that is the best and the brightest, but we felt it was important to be able to support these non-traditional students. And so over the last 3 years we've been able to give these awards. But it must be said that there remains a desperate need for money for this particular scholarship fund. For 2 distinct years now, the committee has been struck by the stories of the students who come and receive the scholarship fund. On your table you have a brochure, and you can see that Marion was the recipient last year. She worked in a bank and was going back to York College and finishing her degree. We only have one $500 scholarship, but the committee was so struck by the stories of the people who came that they felt that they had to award 2 $500 scholarships, but it's not there. It's not there in the fund. So what did they do? They dug into their own pockets, twice, 2 years in a row, to be able to say, we're going to come up with enough funds for a second $500 scholarship. This is most generous, don't get me wrong, it's most generous. But we cannot expect the members of the committee to continue to subsidize what is in essence our club fund. We've got to find some ways to be able to help support the fund in a better way, to raise money and to help folks get back to school, improve their lives, and care for their families in a better way. Now, some of our members are making that effort. That table down the end, which is actually now almost vacant because the scooters have left. You know, that place where Bobby Simpson has sat since actually earlier than 1903. And Bobby, by the way, has gone, even though I told him I was going to mention by name. Anyway, that table of lost souls, the only people who will sit with Bobby Simpson and listen to his jokes, that table has actually issued a challenge to the rest of the club. That table, since this fund, this Rotary Club of York Scholarship Fund was established, that table has raised $5,700 of money for this particular fund. The original page. So even though they're not here, Bobby Simpson and Jeremy Morgenmuth and Steve Schellenberger and Steve Mangold, who of course is Ed's son, Marcia Bourne and Bob Davis, they're challenging you. They are challenging you, the regular tables that exist in this club. We all know that there are regular tables. If the rest of the regular tables want to take up that challenge, do. Because they should not be the only ones who are helping to support this fund. Right? They're challenging you, as other regular tables, to be able to step up and say, we will help support this fund, our Rotary Club of York Scholarship Fund, and be able to try to help make this a much more viable financial institution. And besides which, we can't let them just be the only ones. We can't let them win. And you can do it, by the way, in lots of different ways. You can do it with regular contributions. You can do it with memorial donations. Whenever there's one of our Rotarians die, I try to make a small donation and make sure that it goes to the non-traditional student scholarship fund. They add up. Those $25 donations can add up quite nicely. So let's not let this bunch of scooters, this bunch of ne'er-do-wells, show the rest of us up. They can raise this money, so can you. If they can help, so can you. Will you help? Because we need your help. We need to be able to support this fund in another way. So, in conclusion, you can see that with all of this is, as I said, a very multifaceted program in this committee. But the rewards for participating are tremendous. You get to meet some of the very, very best and brightest of our students, a process that always leaves me wondering what I've actually done in my 66 years of life. You also get to meet and to assist some students who are struggling and some others who are trying to make a new start in life, and that is a wonderfully inspiring thing. Now, I know that some of the committee chairs over the years get up here and tell you to join their committees because they never meet. It's not true for us. We tend to work hard, and there is some real effort required, especially in the months of spring as we get the scholarship up. But if you come and you participate in this committee, you will have a direct impact upon the lives of students of all ages, and you will make a difference to their future. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present the Fund Committee.
And you get makeup credit.